Riverside FM.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I hope everyone enjoyed yesterday's match against Arsenal. Lots to cover on today's episode of the podcast. We had a busy day in the world of Manchester United. Sir Jim went out in came out with an interview with Gary Neville, discussing a few things: Manchester United, the regeneration project, the finances, taking over, changes with Eric Ten Hag, Dan Ashworth. So we saw that happening. I'll give you my reactions from there. A lot of people had reactions in regards to that interview. Hopefully, well, I'm going to be a little bit similar to some of them, but lots of stuff that happened today. I'm going to talk about the match yesterday. I know I was going to do it. I was supposed to have an episode released yesterday. Didn't get a chance to do that. I do apologize. But with today, again, I'm going to discuss the interview post-game. We do have some stuff going on in the U.S. This summer for Manchester United. That was recently announced. Some things being announced today. Also, we had the protest yesterday as well. Again, to all those that were there, to all the fans that attended, thank you for doing that as well. So that is greatly appreciated. And again, everything that came out today, I don't know if it was in retaliation. I shouldn't say retaliation. In response to the protest, I feel like that interview today and some of the announcements that's going on about the regeneration things that's going on with Man United is happening. So I think that's in a response to, hey, let's focus on what's happening with this stuff, and let's completely disregard that thousands of fans came to protest against me, Sir Jim, and the Glazer family of what's going on. The $1 billion of debt that the fans are stuck with, that the Glazers won't pay off. But that's what's going on. But again, it's the same tune being sung again and again and again. It's like Lamb Chops Play Along. It's a song that never ends. But again, I will get to the interview. I will get to the stuff that's going on, especially the new stadium that's been announced. Again, a lot of stuff being announced today with that. But okay, let's start with number one, the protest. Again, thousands of fans came out. They did the march heading down to Old Trafford. They did the walkthrough around the stadium. And again, everyone protesting exactly how every fan feels around the world. The Glazers, they want him out. They want a full sale. We were upset with the frustrations. And listen, does it help? Yes. Does it bring awareness? Yes. Are the Glazers going to be selling anytime soon? No. We know that. Again, a protest is great. I would like to see more. I know there's been a game canceled in the past, but I think with everything going on, I feel like there should be more going on to help with the protest. Listen, AC Milan did a good job. They basically had fans stop showing up to the games. Empty stadium, that means no money. But again, the question is, like, what would be next? And I mentioned in the last episode, what are the players going to do? Like, really, like, we know how much love Bruno has for this club, how much he supports the staff, how he's offered, I was at the FA Cup, like, for those that wanted to go, he paid for them. He even offered to pay for the Christmas party for the staff that lost this past year. And as our captain, that's great to see. He's showing support for the club. But what about others? Like, what more can we see or do? When are the players going to step in and be like, enough is enough? You're doing this to the club. And I'm going to go over a little bit more when I discuss the interview, because Sir Jim, he explains everything that's going on. He broke everything down and all that in his interview. But the protest was great. It was good to see it all. Good to see the support. I saw many people wearing black. The signs, everything was there to help fight against the Glazers. We saw it. And like I said, will it help? Maybe. Are the Glazers going to be selling tomorrow? We all know that won't happen. I don't even know if the Glazers were at the game yesterday. It's, like we know, and we know that they're not our biggest fans. But again, they're going to have to protest and do everything. There has to be stuff getting done, and you can stop showing up to games. You can start returning your tickets, start losing money. I believe I read something once, and I also saw this again and heard it. Liverpool just said, fans, just stay as long as you can at the game. Just stay there. Like, sit there, look at the stadium, look at the view, look at everything. There's even a talk about doing that, because the longer the fans are there, the staff have to be there even longer. And that's, like, be peaceful about it, but like stay there, because the longer you're there, the longer they have to pay people, and the more you pay, the more the owners will lose money. You can try to find ways. I would like the players to start stepping in to do that. If you get a hold of the players and you get them to be on your side, then that'd be great. Amarim showed his support. He did. It's great when you have the manager's support. I would like to hear from the captain. Him, Harry Maguire. There, and then what else? Who else is there as well? You're going to see many people give their opinion about, like, what's going on. But, like, even Lindelof has been there for a time. If Licha, you can even ask Licha, he has been there for the last couple of years. There's even Diego Dallo, Bruno, like, their transition from other managers. So you can even say that they've seen what they can for the last few years. So, but listen, but again, going back to it all, again, thank you to the 1958 for organizing it, getting everyone out to march, support, try to push for a full sale. It was incredible for what they did. It was getting them all out there to organize it and get it done was remarkable, and I enjoyed the videos. I enjoyed the photos. Again, I wish I was there. And there was not. It wasn't just people who were going to the game that were part of it. There were people there that just went to Manchester to participate in the support. Like, that's also incredible. We are a worldwide team. Like, let's not ignore that for a minute. Like, we are a big club. So you're going to have people come in. You're going to have people show their support, travel from all over England, even outside the UK, to come in and support the club. And you're going to see that there. Everyone's going to be expressed. And again, we have the North American tour. Will anything happen when you're in North America? Will there be a mini protest there? We don't know. But again, I would like to see another one. Again, keep doing what we're doing. And I know we want the Glazers out, but it's one protest won't do it. There's going to have to be other peaceful means of pushing for a sale, but we can hope. That's all I can say. But let's get to the match, the incredible match that was yesterday. That match was great. 1-1 draw against Liverpool. My squad prediction wasn't as accurate as I thought it was. Not having Ugarte there, Maguire was out. Lindelof did get the start, and over Heaven, who I was hoping was going to start, did come in for Euro, who was injured. So we're going to wait and see the status of that, which was good. Toby Collier did come in. You saw Eriksson there. Xerxes did start at the 9, so Hoyland did come off the bench. It was interesting to see because, again, like I mentioned, I wouldn't have been upset if Cheeto, Obi Martin came in and saw what he could do as a starter. It all depend on how the game was going to go. It really did. You're 1-1, and your most experienced person on the bench was Rasmus Højlund. So you needed Højlund to come on, especially in that type of game. He had his opportunities. They made some good tackles on him. I want to give big applause to Rhea yesterday, especially near the end, and how well he played throughout that whole entire game. Made some incredible stops. The goal by Rasmus was good. Rice's goal was very well done. But again, overall in the game, was I happy? Yes. Am I happy with the draw? No. Like I said, I always hope for a Man United win. Now, I did mention that I do the predictions through the Manchester United app. Let me just say one thing. I know I said I try to go for wins as I could, but I did make a prediction for the match, and it was a 1-1 prediction. Again, I always hope for a win, but I did go for the 1-1 draw. I also did mention sometimes you just know, but I did forget that I did make my prediction through the app. And when I saw that I got extra 20 points, I was like, how did I get this? And I looked at it, prediction 1-1. I was like, I see now. I see how I got this. So, again, we could have won the game. Let's not take that away. We could have won the game. But Amorim game plan was he played to some of their strengths, our players. He did. Like Casemiro, Eriksen, their legs aren't what they were, but you had to play to what they can play as an advantage, and they both played well. Bruno played very well. Garnacho played very well. Xerxes played very well. Again, Heaven, when he came on, Mazraoui was great off the right. You saw Dello there. I do like Garnacho off the right, by the way. He did look good there. But again, opportunities to score were there to take advantage, and they had it. I wish I was there to watch the game in person. It would have been a good game to watch. It was exciting. Again, seeing the free kick done in extra by Bruno was great. I know Arsenal fans are going to be like, was it really 10 yards? They did the measurement. It was 11.2, and like the ref measures it out by like steps. So again, sometimes it's going to be off. You're not going to get exactly that. But again, Arsenal was technically the better team going to this match. Let's not pretend. But let's look at it here. They came off a big win of PSV. Again, as much as Man United has been terrible, they're not that club that they beat 7-1 earlier in the week. We can play very well. And we played it well against them in the FA Cup. Let's not forget. Let's not forget that we beat this club. Well, we tied them in regulation, including in extras, with a man down. And if you remember that match, some of those questionable calls were going on too. And we took them to penalties, and we won on penalties. So let's remember, this club here has played them well. And again, sometimes there's issues with the way these players are. They'll show up against a big six, but sometimes when you're playing teams that are actually playing at the same level that they are, they have difficulty showing up for that. But overall, I was happy with the game. I will take the draw. It's a point. We did kind of go up a little bit in the standings, but a win would have been nice. But we'll see. We do have a big game this week, Thursday against Real Sociedad, and we're playing Leicester this Sunday. And then we go on a little bit of a break for a little bit, international break. I know some players weren't called up for some of their national teams. I saw that today for the Netherlands. Xerxes and De Ligt both weren't called up for their national squads. That's tough to hear. Xerxes been on the rebound since, him being booed off. De Ligt has been incredible. And like De Ligt, and I mentioned in my first episode when I'm going to be talking about the games, I'm not going to do a man of the match. I'm going to do my what we do for hockey here. We're going to do our 3 stars, similar to that, 3 players of the match. And sometimes I may throw in an opponent, just because sometimes you just want to give respect to your opponents for how well they played. Like sometimes they do play well. But in this match, like many people were the player, I believe, I would have to double check to see who the man of the match was, because I kind of forget who it was. When I did my prediction, I predicted Rasmus Højlund to be the man of the match. I also predicted him to be the one to score the only goal for Manchester United. Unfortunately, my predictions were a little off, but the game itself was good. I know on some fan channels they're predicting Bruno as the man of the match. Some definitely were going with Matthijs de Ligt, who Matthijs de Ligt was great. Like, let's not take that away from him at all. Again, just been incredible with the way it was. So Bruno was the man of the match again. I believe that's his third in a row man of the match for how well he's been playing. But yeah, you can't argue against for how well he has been playing and everything this year. Even since the start of 2025, he's been leveling up his game and he's been playing incredible. But let's talk about my three players. Let's give some honorable mentions. Garnacho. Let's talk about Lenny Euro before he went off as well. Casemiro and Eriksen played well. Even Xerxes played very well. But like when we look at the game, like I am going to give credit to Raya. Like he is going to be one of my players of the game. The reason why is just the stops that he made and the stops against us at the end. He made some incredible saves, and to be fair, he could have made some more. Like he definitely kept Arsenal in it. He made sure that it stayed a tie for that. Now Arsenal didn't do much enough to try and get the win, but Raya made sure enough that they had the opportunities to make sure United didn't win. And United had their opportunities, especially near the end. And again, the saves there by Raya. So Raya is my number 3. Number 2, Matthijs de Ligt. He was just incredible. And he has been incredible. You could say if it wasn't for Bruno, he would be the next man of the match. He's been incredible as well. But like my number 1, who has been the man of the match, I am going with Bruno as number 1. Yes, he was everyone's man of the match. Yes, he scored his, 3rd free kick in all competitions this season, his 2nd free kick of 2025. He scored against Everton on a free kick. He scored against Arsenal on his free kick. He scored against, he had a big goal against Real Sociedad. He has been playing extremely well. He has. He's been done very, very well. And a lot of people are saying without Bruno, we'd be in a regulation battle. Technically, we are in a relegation battle right now. I said regulation, I meant relegation. But we are in a relegation battle kind of right now. I don't think we're going to get relegated, but we are in a relegation battle because we are a little bit close to that bottom part. But we are making strides under Ruben. Ruben did set up a game plan very well. He set it up enough to help them win. So we're very thankful for the way things went in yesterday's match. But yeah, those 3, again, I know I mentioned I will give honor to an opponent, and yesterday I kind of have to give that respect to Raya. But again, de Ligt, Bruno were just incredible yesterday. So yeah, again, those are my 3 players of the match. Again, 3-1, obviously, but like they were all great yesterday. It was. Again, I was hoping for a United win, but obviously Raya just did an incredible job. It's hats off to him as well. So, yeah, we have 2 matches this week, and we have Real Sociedad on Thursday. I'm going to do an episode on Wednesday night to discuss about that. I thought about doing my predictions tonight, and then we have Leicester City on Sunday, and then international break, Nations League. There might be some international friendlies for those that are participating in Nations League, but yeah, we'll see who's getting called up for their team in the next couple of days. We know Bruno, Delo, they should be going to Portugal, but again, 2 big ones, 2 big matches. Thursday's the biggest match of the week. And I know, like, obviously our running in the Premier League isn't the best, but you should still treat every game like it's a big game. Because again, we can make up points and climb up the ladder. We can hopefully take some spots, get there, maybe get to the top half of the table. That would be nice with the way everything's been going on since November. So you never know, but we do have some matches going on. So we will see how it goes. But yes, again, happy with the draw against Liverpool. Happy with what's going on. So we will see how it plays out. So let's talk about the interview. Yes, Sir Jim today with Gary Neville had an interview to discuss the everything going on with Manchester United. Now, I know I mentioned earlier on in the episode with everything going on, but it seemed like this was just, how do I put it, in a response to the protest to say, we hear you, this is what's going on, we need to give an explanatory thing. The interview overall, it's how you interpret it. For me, Gary Neville asked some good questions. Did he ask the right questions? Yes. Did he go into more with those questions that he asked? No. He did talk about the Glazers. He did talk about the finance. He did talk about, Ten Hag, Dan Ashworth, admitted that there were mistakes. They're expensive mistakes, but obviously what you look at now compared to before, you probably would go back and be like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done this. He did mention the one thing too is that Ruben has the support now where Ten Hag didn't have the support then. Well, the one thing I'm going to read into that is you did give him support, but you only gave him like 4 months. Let's be real. You gave him 4 months of support. And to be fair, it was pretty much a mask over the real support, which wasn't there. He wasn't there. I think they were looking for something. I know there's the talks. I know there's talk with the managers. In the end, Ineos, Ten Hag was not their choice, was not their original manager. He was signed by the Glazers. So with them taking over football decisions, obviously they're going to make that choice. And they did. They brought in Ruben. But let's, again, when you say that, he didn't have the support system, whereas Ruben does, kind of just well, why didn't you just give it the year to give him the support and see how it went? That's where I think Gary Neville should have just went into a little bit more. But Jim basically just went out and said it was a mistake, even doing what Ashworth, especially after he chased them. But in the end, the reason why they're calling it a mistake is because now it's an expensive mistake. That's what it is. It's an expensive mistake, and it's on the books. That's what they're also discussing as well. So, yes, I was still an advocate for Ten Hag to be staying on. I was happy with Dan Ashworth, but I think there's more to the story because he said that things didn't really work out well with Dan Ashworth. There's, certain things that went, I wouldn't say certain things went on. It's just things just didn't work out. And we heard stories that there wasn't. And I know there was talks that Dan Ashworth didn't want to let go of Ten Hag or even bring in Ruben at this time. There's talks when you spend that much money and you only give the manager that you spent $300 million on and it doesn't work, then it's, did you really give him the support that you really wanted? Did you really give him the players that you did want? Because he did in the interview say this, that Ten Hag did Ten Hag make these choices? And Sir Jim said, well, we all made the choices. Omar, Jason, Dan for the short time he was there, and Ten Hag, they all made the choices together because it's a committee that they have. So we see that there. And again, that's the one thing too that's happening is, do we see that happening now? Are we going to see that with Ruben as well? Because he said he talks to Ruben, they talk to each other every night, him and Ruben, but Ruben talks to Omar talks to Jason. They communicate with everyone, but like, so you see the support there. You see everything there. He did back Ruben, so we're definitely going to see that back in there because he did mention that he likes what Ruben's doing. He's definitely seeing some improvement. I think his exact quotes were, "I saw the future when I was watching the second half." I was like, listen, it was, yeah. So it was an interesting statement as well. But again, it's just a planned interview, and they get the questions in advance. I wish Gary did go into depth more. I did like when he asked about, well, Sir Jim, you put money in. Have you tried to ask the Glazers, hey, put a few bucks here, there, and there? You can see Sir Jim, like, I don't know if it was sketched out to make him look a little frustrated or make it look like Gary was really digging in deep. I don't want to say that because I know they're, how do I say? What am I thinking of right now? It's I'm trying to think of conflict of interest. There we go. A little bit of conflict of interest because, again, Gary is doing stuff with Sir Jim with his regeneration project of the Old Trafford area. So you can see sometimes in Sir Jim's eyes, he can't really throw the Glazers under the bus. He can't. He can't just be like, you know what? We all know whose fault it is. And he did explain some of the finances. He did explain everything that was going on the last 7 years. He really explained that. He said from operational costs, they grew, I think it was like 200, 350 million. And profit-wise, they only really grew 100 million or something like that. And so you're already in the hole in operational costs. So they were talking about that. They were talking about the free lunches, the areas that they had to cut down. And they cut down on employment. As they said, you don't realize how big it is until you see it. And so they had to do that. The free lunches, he's like, even I don't get a free lunch. And he talked about the fans. He's like, the fans shouldn't have to be spending on a free lunch for the staff. And every time we get a free lunch, we kind of we give out free lunches. We have to go down to the bank, get money for that, and take it out and spend it on them. So that's what we saw. He talked about the operational cost. He talked about everything that's going on, trying to make it better. He said that Manchester United would have ran out of money by the end of Christmas this year, which I find that a little hard to believe. But I feel like this is an interview to suffice or give a response to the protest, but at the same time, too, it wasn't giving us enough to discuss it. It wasn't. But like Sir Jim says, he's the one that's taken the heat, taken on all the pressure. Gary, again, kept pressuring in. He did with the Glazers. I wish, again, he would have done more. Sir Jim did mention the spending on players. He did mention, overbidding or overpaying players. They're still spending money on transfers for players that are no longer here. I think this summer he said they got to write a check for $89 million for players that are no longer here, because I believe $400 million of the debt is due to transfer fees. So we have that going on. So that's the incredible part right there. That we already knew. But there's so much that they have to do. There's so much that they need to work on. But again, the interview was, again, it was a response to yesterday's protest, I believe. Was it a good interview? Yes. Was it a little to make it look like Gary was digging in a little bit more as far as he could? Yes. Gary has expressed some frustrations. He has. It's not a lie. He has expressed some frustrations. But it wasn't, he can only go as far as he could. And the questions that he did ask, we were happy with. Could he have gone more into depth with the questions that we wanted? 150%. I feel like I think Sir Jim wants to blast out and just say everything and just be like, all right, here we go. But like, you know, he mentioned the regeneration project. He mentioned, you know, the stadium changes to Carrington, making the advancements, improving everything. So we're going to see that. But again, this interview could have been a lot more, and we're missing out on what that interview was. We'll leave it there. That's basically it. We're just going to leave it there, and we don't know. We really don't know what more could have been done. We actually know. I should take that back. We know plenty more what should be done, but it's the interview again. I think in their mind it was a good response, but realistically, anyone who watched it, you kind of I don't want to say you saw through the BS, but you definitely knew some of it was BS. But he did mention increase in tickets. The one thing he did mention is the measurement of the fans, which I was a little confused with. Like he mentioned about the fans that go to the top 6 games, but those but you mentioned those same fans that go are the ones that go to like when they play like the smaller clubs or like the non Big Six clubs. Like he likes those fans that go to that. I think it really doesn't matter because there could be fans that don't go to. I get what he was trying to say. Like he's trying to go for those loyal all the time fans, the season ticket fans. But like there's some season ticket fans that probably don't go to all the games. Maybe some of them go, like, to say that a season ticket fan only goes to the Big Six games, like 6 games out of the 19 home games. So like the other 13 games they're not going to go to. Like when someone gets a season ticket, they're there for every game, and you're not just going to get season tickets just so you can have advantage of going to watch Liverpool versus everyone else. No, you're going to get those tickets, but overall in the interview, you get more questions to ask. There's more involved. Like you can see Sir Jim, like I feel like he wanted to say what he wanted to say, but we all know he wasn't going to. So, but again, if you want to take a look at it, it is available on YouTube. Listen to it, see what you say. It's an interesting watch, just to say the least. But it's here it is. Here we go. What, like, Sir Jim gave his opinion. He gave his talk. So, but it is what it is in the end. Today, after with everything, again, I feel like some of the responses were, in response to yesterday. So again, announcement for a 100,000 seat stadium, which is again looking to be built as part of the regeneration. This is more of a Premier League thing, but the Premier League or Man United was announced for their US tour. So we're seeing that. I believe they're playing in New Jersey, Atlanta, and I got to double check where the last one was. But you have 3 games. Bournemouth, Everton, and West Ham are the games that Manchester United are playing in the U.S. this summer. So the question is, will I be going to it? I don't know. To be fair, I did think about going to last year. I know they played, I think it was Philly, or was it? Yeah, I think it was MetLife again, like they did last year against Arsenal. Obviously, you're not going to get them to play other clubs because some teams are participating in the FIBA World or FIFA. Not sure, should say FIBA. That is basketball. Yeah. So let me just pull up the U.S. tour ticket locations here, just on the main website at Manchester United. So yes. So West Ham at MetLife in New Jersey. Oh yes, they're in Chicago. So July 26th, they're against West Ham in New Jersey. July 30th, they're in Chicago at Soldier Field. And then lastly, August 3rd in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Hopefully Mercedes-Benz Stadium's grass actually looks like a soccer field, because if you watch the Copa Americas last year, it did not look good when Canada played Argentina in that first match. But again, excited for the tour. I am. But we'll see. Again, depending on what ticket prices are. Again, for me, I'm in Canada, so it's a travel. Like I'm right in between. Like I'm not too. I'm at least a few hours by drive to get to New Jersey. I'm definitely a few hours from Chicago as well for that drive, but we'll see. I might pick or choose. It might be interesting to go to Soldier Field just to watch, because again, Chicago is a great place. I haven't been, but I've heard great stories. But I don't know. But this is what's happening. I know many people have mentioned, they usually play these clubs. But again, we have the FIFA Club World Cup this summer, so you're going to already have teams playing. So it starts basically like a week or two. I think it starts like the week after the Champions League final. So you have many teams playing already all over the U.S. So when teams are doing their tour, some of them might not actually be out on tour because they're recuperating, because they have to participate in a 4-week, 5-week tournament for the FIFA World Cup. So we'll I know many people express that, but again, I'm sure not 2025, but 2026 summer tour, you're going to see them play probably other clubs. You might see them play clubs outside the English Premier League. So you never know. But to go back to what I was talking about, the new seating arrangement, the new 100,000 seat stadium, part of the regeneration, looking to make it, I believe it was Wembley of the North. So try to get more fans in, especially when you're raising the ticket prices. That's more there. The government, I believe, is participating in some of the funding for the area, including the stadium. So we'll see. Again, I feel like some of these announcements, again, were just to look over the protest yesterday. So you want to see that there. And again, every fan channel was reporting the stadium too. And I had some friends of mine message it to me as well. So, but again, it's exciting. It's exciting that a new stadium's happening, but at the same time too, I'm not happy because I've been to Old Trafford. I've sat in there, and yes, I was at the Arsenal match last year when mini Niagara Falls was flowing through the roof. Now, in all fairness, and I will come out to say it, yes, the water was going through, but anyone who was there that day, who was walking through the water, and by the way, there's probably at least 50, I won't say 50,000, I say at least a few thousand people hiding underneath that crosswalk, or the underneath pathway where the stadium is, so you can walk around through like a track. Many people were underneath that, and I was trying to get through so I can get through this out to the wash, to the tram, or out to the water through the tram. And yes, water was up to my ankles. I was soaked. My suitcase the next day was a little heavy from my wet clothes trying to fly back. But overall, yes, it was a very rainy day that day. Many people would say that as well who were at that game. So, but yeah, that's what happened that day. But yes, Old Trafford could use some renovations, but I wouldn't like to see it torn down. It is an incredible stadium. And again, if you're ever there, do the tour, do the walkthrough. It's incredible that you see all the history and everything about that stadium and what it's gone through. And like, it's incredible, the tour. So if you're ever there, highly recommend to do the tour as well. Well, again, thank you for everyone listening to tonight's episode of the podcast. Again, I'll be back Wednesday. We do have the match against Real Sociedad, as well as we have Leicester on Sunday as well. So, again, yes, if you haven't listened to it, listen to the Sir Jim interview. I do recommend it. It's one of those that I do recommend to listen. But again, give your opinion, what you think of it. I know many people won't be happy with it. I know I have my mixed reviews of it. So, but it's, yeah. But again, that's it for tonight. I hope everyone has a good week. I will talk to everyone on Wednesday. So again, thank you for listening. My name is Jim, and thank you for listening to the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast. Glory, glory, Man United.